Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Siobhan. This is Bow Books, where we usually talk about young adult books, sometimes other books, sometimes not books at all, but today it is going to be a book review. So I hope you enjoy it. Please give me some feedback if you do. Don't feel pressured either way. I'm really not going to try and do that to people. I think everyone knows how YouTube works now. So today I'm going to talk about Red, White and Blue. Red, White and Royal Blue. I'm so sorry. First thing I'm going to mention, that really annoyed me. Like, I know they wanted the quote to stand out, but I don't like that it's not the same length. Anyway, so yeah, I read this book. I picked it up in the young adult section. I will say I don't think it's young adult. I think it's new adult. I think that that kind of gets a bad rap. That's probably why they were like, oh, it's young adult, or they were like, oh well, they're 18, like doesn't that still count as young adult? But as we go into it, I'll try and explain why I think it is actually new adult. So the premise is that the president's son, Alex, he has a love-hate relationship with the Prince of England, Prince Henry. We'll go into that in a second. But there's a party, I think it's New Year's party at the White House, and the prince kisses him, and then he realizes, oh my goodness, maybe I'm bisexual, and maybe I like the prince too, and they fall into this love affair. You know, it's kind of clandestine one at first, and then it gets revealed, and all the stuff that usually happens in this sort of story where it's a secret relationship that gets revealed. So, you know, there's people who don't enjoy it, there are people who want to comment because they're in the public eye, there's feedback from Joe Public. So yeah, first, you know that line in Pride and Prejudice where Darcy is like trying to propose to Elizabeth, and he's like, look, your family sucks, you're kind of rude, I don't like any of you, you're kind of poor, but still I want you, will you marry me? And she's like, no. That's kind of how I feel about this book. Like, I devoured it, but at the same time I was hypercritical of it, but while liking it. I know that sounds really weird, and like if you look on the feedback on Goodreads, there are some really good points about why it's not a great book. My first bone of contention was the Prince Henry thing, because it ended up reading really weird to me. Prince Harry, the current denounced prince, his birth name is Henry, so he's actually Prince Henry, and Prince Harry is actually a term of endearment, so he's actually Henry. So to me it was reading like this is Prince Harry fanfiction, and I just spent my entire time trying to work out who Alex was supposed to be, and I think it was supposed to be like Adrian Grenier, is that his name, from Entourage, and it got really weird in my head, just because Prince Henry is our actual prince, well, possibly ex-prince's name, so I don't think it hit the way it's supposed to hit because of that for me. It read a lot like fan fiction, and I don't want to be down on fan fiction because I do write fan fiction and I love fan fiction, but there is as much good out there as there is bad, and this felt tropey. So like there are some scenes that get quite X-rated, which I think is why it should be a new adult book rather than a young adult book. It didn't cut at the line or infer things. It was very graphic, which it should at least have an older reader warning on it somewhere, but it doesn't. That's just a bug off sticker, which is the only reason I picked it up. Afraid to say, but yeah, it didn't sit right, that sort of stuff, especially as it's like it's trying to show how uptight Prince Harry is. I'm going to keep calling him Prince Harry because to me the two are interchangeable. Yeah, it's just but it was still like reading good fan fiction, but it was kind of good fan fiction, bad published fiction. But at the same time, like, does this open the door for actual fan fiction, like good fan fiction, to come to the fore? Or is this going to be like another 50 Shades of Grey deal where everyone's like, ugh, it was fan fiction? I don't know if this has its basis in fan fiction, but it reads like it does. It's a long book as well. Like, I think this is a debut novel. I'll just double check that. I'm getting blinded by this blooming ring light. How do people like look at a ring light for an hour and talk? I don't know. Usually I'll say like the author's other work. No. No, it doesn't say anything. Yes, it is a debut novel, and it's just, I don't know. Anyways, there are things that happen in this book that just felt like, you know, when you're reading a book, you kind of agree to the terms that the author sets out for the world that they've created. So, you know, if everyone's skin is blue, that's fine, but as soon as someone turns blue, it's like, wait, what colour were they before? Why aren't they the same colour as everyone else? You know, that sort of thing. It kind of feels like it steps out of its own reality a little bit sometimes. I didn't like that, and things felt a bit too far-fetched, like how things got revealed. So Alex, the president's son, his mother is at the end of her first term. She's about to go for her second term. There's a lot of political bias in this book, and I think, you know, for the last 4 years that's kind of given it a certain leaning, which maybe it's going to age badly, I think. I'm not going to put my political views out there, but yeah, it's probably come across in other videos actually. It didn't sit right with me that, you know, the Republicans in this book, they knew from the very first moment that they were together, and they had all this intel on the prince and the president's son, and they were just waiting for the right moment to reveal it, and it you know, it didn't feel right the way it got revealed. I think there could have been other things, more natural revelations. Who knows? I think as well, like, the way certain characters in this act didn't feel right, didn't feel real, or like it felt like a certain subsection of society, but not one that you would think would be represented in the White House or in Buckingham Palace. So for instance, Alex's best friend slash the president's granddaughter, and his sister and him, they all have like a very cavalier attitude to certain things in their lives, especially partying. And there's one moment where the prince and his friend are over, and you know, the prince and Alex go into a bedroom together, and then the sister, the vice president's granddaughter, and the prince's friend will go into another room, and you know, it's not said, but it's very badly hinted at that there's like a threesome going on between them, and it's you know what I'm saying? There are lines that get crossed a little bit in this book that I don't think necessarily should have been. I think, you know, maybe it was popular on a website and then it got published off the back of that, but I would have changed a lot, to be honest with you. Like I said, it's a debut novel. It's very long, very, very long. The chapters themselves are long. This is only 15 chapters, and it is 418 pages. And like, I'm not kidding. Like, if I go back a little bit to where there's a picture, because that's where, you know. Yeah. Chapter 15. That close to the end. Like, it was too much. It was gargantuan. It was. I loved it when I was reading it, but then like I sat back afterwards, I was like, no way. Like, there was so much that just really triggered me, and I didn't like it, and it felt like it wrapped up too neatly as well. So both Alex and the prince, and then for the election itself. You know, I'm not against reading election stories, and I'm not against the concept of like royalty and dignitaries, although as a prince he is supposed to be indifferent to political leanings, and I don't think that was handled well in this. I think as well, like, there's this negative approach to the royal family, and not everyone's a royalist. I'm not going to go into that either too much, but I will say that you know, to write, she's an American writer, and to write another country's like royal family and writing the nature that she did, it comes across really catty. Like, there are some things that she gets right in this book as well about English life, to the point where I was like, is she an English writer or is she an American writer? And then I read like the blurb, she lives in New York now. But you know, that it felt semi well researched, and yeah, I enjoyed it in the moment. But I think it's like when you're eating takeout and it tastes good at the moment, and then like half an hour later your stomach's all twisted up and you're like, oh my god, why did I do this to myself? Or like every time I eat a donut my wheat intolerance goes, wait. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about it even now. Like, I know there's so many negative things, but then I'm like, yeah, but you really enjoyed reading it. And I was like, did I? In the end, I don't know, maybe I enjoyed like the element of fan fiction that was there. I don't know. But if you've read it, let me know your thoughts. Yeah, because I'd love to hear someone who, maybe had a better experience reading it, or understands how I'm feeling about it a little bit as well. Sorry if this is really disjointed as well. Like, it's been a while since I've done a book review, so I'm all over the place. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed this pants version of a review, and I will see you next time. Happy reading. Bye.